I remember the first morning I ever rode him was at the Kilduff Yard at Lucinda's. Obviously, there's two yards, Kilduff and Artery, and he was over at the Kilduff Yard, and it was in a bit of work up the grass, and he was very straightforward, and it wasn't a hard bit or anything like that, but he done everything lovely, and I didn't realise at the time probably how good he was going to be, but at the same time he done everything right, you know. I think obviously he's probably had a slow enough start in his point-to-point career, even where he's taken, I think, 5 runs to win, and then, but since he's come to Lucinda's, he wasn't overly expensive horse at the start either, and since he's come to Lucinda's, from the first day I ever rode him on the track, it was in a 3-mile maiden hurdle at Ayr, and he won that day, and I think he didn't win by too far, and he wasn't overly impressive in the fact he won by a few lengths, and you know, he'd make you work for it, but he's just keep progressing all the way through. The first time I ever rode over the big fence was in the Beecher Chase, and I was actually running okay. I was dropped in a bit, and I was staying on, which definitely for a place, and you know, it was going to be in the shake up in the finish for Patrick Griffin on a horse called Portrait King, and unfortunately I jumped left and I caught the heels of the horse in front of me, and I fell at the second last when staying on from the back, and that was obviously not in the Grand National in the Beecher Chase, but it was very annoying at the time. Listen, yeah, it's definitely before I won the national, I was, you know, you're able to go around under the radar. I was going around under the radar really, and I think one for Arthur winning the Grand National in 2017, one for Arthur just kind of propelled me into the spotlight really, and then to win it again on Corach Rambler, you know, just made it even you know, I think is just you know, made me twice as known. So yeah, it's definitely been life changing really. Yeah, there's always a bit of chat or someone looking for a shout, just getting a bit of room. But in big handicaps like that, it's you know, whether it's the likes of Cheltenham or at the Scottish National meeting at Ayr or something, or any of them big handicaps and entry, you know, your shouts can fall on deaf ears really. So listen, people try, and it's obviously everyone, you know, the lads are racing against each other every day of the week, and you know, no one's deliberately gonna hopefully come across you or do anything wrong, but someone might give you a shout if there's a loose horse running up between you from behind, so you'll always get a shout here or there, but yeah, you know, that's basically it really. Yeah, it can happen, but he hasn't shown any signs of that having an effect on his jumping this year, and you know, it's not true for all horses. One for Arthur ran very well in the Beecher Chase to finish 5th on his first time over the big fences. When he didn't actually jump that well, he made a few mistakes or the first few, and then by the time he ran the Grand National, he jumped even better. So yeah, that you know, obviously I'm hoping that that's not going to be a problem for Corach Rambler, that he'll jump with confidence. Every year that I've ridden in the National, I always coming up to watch replays of old footage and stuff to see what you might pick up or might learn about it. When you look back at some of the footage from back in the day, you know, the further you go back, the more luck was involved really, because of the size and the stiffness of the fences. Hopefully with the regulations and the way it's become a wee bit more horse friendly, it is more of a classier race, and you need more than just a good jumper to win it. You need a horse that actually has a bit of class. You know, I think although it's still, I'm well aware it's a very difficult race to win, and you know, you need a lot of luck to win it. hopefully it's a wee bit more predictable than it once was. Yeah, listen, there's a good few lady riders in the weigh rooms these days, and very, very capable. I wouldn't even start naming them, but they're lady riders have definitely come forward, and probably through the likes of Rachel Blackmore and Holly Doyle have kind of brought it to a different level. Holly Doyle obviously been on the flat, but I think Rachel Blackmore is up the standard for lady riders, and I'm sure it's give a lot of young girls a dream that it can be done, and it is possible for them to compete at the top level. I think you have to respect it and understand that there's no point going out thinking that nothing is ever going to happen. You prepare yourself and as best as possible, and I think it's a calculated risk, and you try and keep it as minimal as possible. No, I like to think I'm fairly confident and positive, and I've never had too many real serious injuries, so I've always been able to get back race riding pretty quick off them. It's not something I try and dwell on too much, and just stay positive and keep looking forward, really. I think for me it's nice that I like to think I have a good relationship with Lucinda, and I think she trusts, I think Lucinda is think she's a good relationship with me, that we trust I trust that she's the horse's fit, and she trusts me to be capable enough to ride them on the day. And I think it has to be important that everyone's on the same page and thinking the same way, and working together rather than against each other when you're in the same teams. It's not the be all and end all. People get spare rides in the weigh room, and that can work out just as well. For me, I know Lucinda well at this stage, and I always feel confident riding for her. I suppose when you're talking about jump horses anyway, you obviously can get a horse off the flat that'll go jumping, and he can get on fine. But I like to see a bit of size and scope in the jumpers. I think it always helps if you have a bit of size and scope. It can just make life easier for the horse, and they don't need to be massive, but just a nice sized horse is always a help, I think. Sometimes horses can outrun their odds, but hopefully you're not too surprised. Hopefully if the horse prepared going into the races, and hopefully when you go there, you're going there with a chance. I think that's what we all want, is to have the horse fitting well and going there with a chance, really. No, if a horse hasn't won a race, doesn't get round to winning a race in its whole career, it's definitely lacking a bit of ability or will to win, so there's never too many. There's obviously young horses that might show a bit at home, or might show a bit of promise in a bumper, and don't go on to achieve much to ever win a race. It is possible, but normally if they show a bit at home in their work, or to show a wee bit on the track, it'll always come true in the end. So if a horse never gets around to winning a race, it's probably because he's just lacking something. So yeah. I suppose you watch the replays, go over the form on your phone as much as possible before the race. Go over the form and get an idea of how the tactics of the race might work out, and obviously you keep yourself fit and well as you can. And I always walk the track every day I go racing. I walk or run the track beforehand, just to have a look at the ground, see where the best ground is. And it's just a wee regime you go, especially if you don't know the horse you're riding. You'd look up his replays, watch his replays and his form, and get an idea of how it likes to be ridden, and then get an idea of how much pace might be in the race. And that's one part of it. And then as I say, I always like to walk the track just to get a feel of an idea of where the best ground might be, and how the track's laid out, because there's always little changes. The hurdles might be in a different place, or the fences might have you pushed in or out a little bit. So I just think you get there, get prepared, and have all the information you can, and then you've done everything you can. So you take it, what happens will happen. Then at the end of that. Well, obviously, Corach Rambler won it at Cheltenham twice, especially the first day with great buzz. I've had some great days. High Senior winning at Cotswold Chase at Cheltenham was good day. So there are a couple of maybe highlights. Yeah, I feel like well, I could almost have felt it when one for Arthur won the Warwick Classic. I felt like they'd achieved something that day down at Warwick, and then next time out he won the Grand National. And I think in that period of that winter, getting the right on one for Arthur just propelled me into someone who was really recognised, I think. I grew up around horses with some lovely ponies at home, but wasn't really a race. I never didn't grow up in a racing yard or anything like that. And done some show jumping and progressed on through the pony racing in Ireland and point to point. And that's how I got into it. There was nothing. There was no. It wasn't. It wasn't too fancy or anything like that. So no, you don't need to have a big background in racing, I don't think. To get into it, and most yards have an open door. They're always happy if you can sit on a horse, they'll let you come in right out, and that's it. Just it's like any walk of life or any sport. I think the more you put into it, the more you get back out of it. Yeah, you're always learning. You're always learning. It's hard for me to pick out one individual lesson. I think horse racing, you need to be doing it every day, either riding out in the yard or going racing as much as possible, and hopefully over time you pick things up as you go along, rather than hopefully you don't get one and can't really have any standard hard lesson I've ever learned, but hopefully you're always picking things up as you go along, really.